All right, as some of you I know saw, I was on the Piers Morgan program last week. I was on quite a panel, and the panel was, I guess, generically about Trump and Biden. You know how these things are, or maybe you don't actually. The way these things often work is they contact you very last second. They tell you, here's the people you'll probably be on the panel with, and then it changes. The topics are given to you an hour before. So needless to say, I ended up on a panel with MAGA guy Benny Johnson, and then attorney Alan Dershowitz, and then Democratic commentator Nomiki Konst, who we've known for a long time, and then, of course, Piers Morgan hosting it. And, some of you wrote to me and had a very interesting reaction, which was, David, some of the things you said on that show are different from the things you sometimes say on your show. And that's absolutely right. And let's talk through it. I'm going to play some relevant clips here, and I'll kind of give you my sense of what my preparation is like and how it ended up kind of going this way. So let's listen to the first clip.
I still don't know what he was convicted of. Was he convicted of intent to cheat on his taxes 2 years later, although he didn't take it as a deduction? Was he convicted of defrauding voters who obviously knew that he was a sexual scoundrel? Was he convicted of seeking to make an illegal campaign contribution, although the contribution didn't have to be listed until after the election? I have never seen a case where even after the verdict came down, we don't know what he was convicted of.
David Pakman, I saw you smirking quite a lot during what Alan was saying. But Alan, as he said, he's not a Trump supporter, and he is one of the most eminent lawyers in America. Does it not concern you that the glee that currently is spewing out from every Democrat pore might be tempered by a pretty hard reality shock if it plays out the way Alan suggests?
I think Trump's going to lose either way. And why do I think that? Because Republicans have lost everything since Trump won in 2016. 2018 was a disaster. Trump lost 2020. The red wave of 2022 led to Democrats getting a bigger majority in the Senate. The 2023 special off-year elections, every abortion-related referendum, it's been a disaster. So Trump's going to lose regardless. I don't know how much of an impact this verdict is going to have, but we know what he was found guilty of. You can say, well, I don't know that they should have brought the case. There is prosecutorial discretion. Hopefully we'll talk about that with regard to Hunter Biden as well. You can say the judge should have recused himself because he made a $35 donation to Act Blue. But to succeed on appeal, you have to point to something the judge actually did that's problematic. And the lawyers I've spoken to can't really point to anything. So I think Alan makes some good points. I just don't see this as the crazy controversy that some are making it out to be.
Some of you correctly identified. David, on your show, you don't say Trump's going to lose. In fact, you often make the case. You don't know who's going to win. It's going to be super close. It'll come down to probably 500,000 votes in 3 to 5 states. Why do you say something different on that show? My approach with these shows is you get a very limited amount of time to talk, and you need to make some clear and definitive point, including one that you can sort of plan for ahead of time. And the 2 points I wanted to make here in order to sort of come off strongest was none of this stuff is going to really matter. And the reason that people like Benny Johnson and others are freaking out is because they've lost everything for almost a decade. In order to make that point, you sort of have to also say, and they know they're going to lose this time around as well. Call it crazy. This is sort of the world of kind of low rent panels of this kind. I don't know. You got me. I think it'll be close. And on the show, I said, I think Trump's going to lose because you kind of try to come up with something to say that will push back against the talking points that these people use. The other thing that I said there also is about the judge. And we were told there's going to be a discussion about whether the judge misconduct. So I kind of go in knowing, listen, you can say whatever you want about the judge. You can say the judge shouldn't have been the judge to begin with. But to get this thing overturned on appeal, you really have to point to some decision the judge made that was inappropriate. And the fact that he donated $35 to Act Blue is just not going to cut it. So my approach is, let me have 1 or 2 main things to say with each topic that they give us. Here again was Biden dementia, which they brought up.
Joe Biden is suffering some form of dementia. That was the clear conclusion from those who've been around him. And we see enough in public to suggest that may be the case. How comfortable are you that he is going to be fighting this election and potentially being president for 4 more years?
Well, worst case scenario, they both are struggling cognitively, in which case I'd much rather the people around Biden making decisions than the sycophants Trump would put around him, which, with no offense at all, are sort of versions of Benny Johnson, by the way. And the audience, I'm sure we could have a beer together, Benny, and have a great time, but it's not like I necessarily want the government run by people like you. So I think worst case scenario, they're both struggling. You know, at this point, I've interviewed 4 medical and mental health professionals, 2 from mental health, 2 from the neurology side. So far, they've all told me Joe Biden is experiencing age-related aging that you would expect for someone of his age. Trump seems to be seriously cognitively struggling, where he doesn't realize he's saying things that don't make sense. He doesn't realize that he's getting names completely wrong, stories that don't make sense, doesn't know who he ran against, doesn't know who he's running against, doesn't know who he ran against in 2016 or who's president right now. I mean, a level of confusion. And again, I'm neither a neurologist nor a mental health expert. This is what the mental health experts have told me. Now, I will say, I read the article. Some of the sourcing is people that MAGA Mike Johnson talked to. That's not super compelling to me. However, I do think Annie Linsky is a trustworthy reporter. I am not pretending this story isn't out there, and I cover it on my show today. I think it's a serious story.
Now, ultimately, we found out it was not a serious story, but at least at the time, my thought was, okay, what are my 3 points here? I'm going to make the point that if we've got 2 candidates with dementia, Biden's doing a pretty damn good job, and the people around him are the people I want in power. Number 2, every expert I've spoken to says the problem here is Trump. And then number 3, I'm not ignoring this story, although I'm sort of suspicious about some of the sourcing. So again, my strategy, to give you a peek behind the curtain, is I go in and I'm kind of like, what are the 2 or 3 things that I want to say here? I don't know if I want to look at there were a couple other clips. There was like a Bill Clinton thing, which I'll play, which again, it's just like what Bill Clinton did with Paula Jones wasn't a crime. And so I stuck with that.
You've got Bill Clinton, who, while he was president, had sex with an intern in the Oval Office. You've got Bill Clinton, who paid off Paula Jones $850,000 for settling a sexual harassment case. While he was president, it didn't happen while he was president, but he paid her off while he was. None of that led to a criminal prosecution. And I would think many Americans, if they're just out of the toxic tribal loop, would go, well, surely even the Paula Jones one sounds a lot worse than a consensual fling with Stormy Daniels 20 years ago.
The flaw is that there was nothing illegal about Bill Clinton settling that lawsuit, and they were not campaign contributions disguised in this way, which was determined to be criminal. I think Trump will make himself a martyr either way. He's a victim of the system of elections being rigged. He's a victim of the justice system being rigged. He's a victim of the media rigging his microphone and the temperature in the debates. He's always going to be a victim of everything. They've lost everything since 2016, Piers. Of course he's going to be the victim, because he can't just admit, for the last 8 years, I've destroyed this political party. We've lost everything since I became president.
Let him lose legitimately.
Well, that's what I was about to say, actually.
All right. So it was a very interesting experience. You know, you have such limited time. You really need to know exactly what it is you plan to say. I think it went well enough, and I don't know if they'll have me back, but it was certainly interesting. It is time to start thinking like voters and to make sure that kids understand the importance of voting, how it works, registering, ballot initiatives, because so many kids just have no idea. That's why I wrote the new children's book, Think Like a Voter. I can think of no better time and no more important group of folks to try to reach. The book is now available at davidpakman.com/book, where, by the way, you can get the first 2 books in the series as well. Think Like a Detective and Think Like a Scientist. Really important stuff. Donate them to local libraries, classrooms, read them with the kids. davidpakman.com/book.